Okay, at this point, I'll call the Urbana Public Television Commission to order. I'm Vice Chair Cinder. Chairman Folk is en route and will join us sometime during the meeting. Would the clerk please call the roll?
I would. Commissioner Wadsworth?
Present.
Commissioner Polk?
Present.
Commissioner Fuller?
Present.
Commissioner Cinder?
Present.
Commissioner Inskeep and Commissioner Mancuso both notified us they would not be able to make the special meeting, and Chair Folk, as you just said, is on the way. So we have a quorum.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is modifications and approval of the agenda. Do I hear any modifications to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I second that.
There's been a motion made and seconded the motion to approve the agenda. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of September 12, 2014. Is there any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
A motion to approve the minutes from September 12th, 2014.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Is there any correspondence?
There is none.
Moving on, staff report.
Thank you. We were pleased to have our open house and annual membership meeting this past Saturday here in the council chambers. We had more than 24 people in attendance. We had a good time, a good turnout. As always, it's very very salutary for the staff and for the member producers to get together once a year and sort of celebrate what we all do together. So that was a great success. Commissioner Wadsworth attended, and we had a council person here, and we appreciate that. The biggest thing that's happened in the past quarter probably is that we have replaced the Nexus broadcast server. We took, it was several years past replacement date, but we did take proactive measures to avoid a catastrophic failure because it was clearly on its last legs. Jason effected the transition to the new system in a very short time, so we were on bulletin board for less than 24 hours before we were able to resume our regular schedule. I'll have Jason talk a little more during the equipment purchase item on the agenda about the implications of the new equipment, the new software. And in addition, 3 or 4 times a year, it seems, at least since I've been here, we are approached by various city staff asking if we have a portable public address system for use at various city events. And we've always had to say, no, you'll need to go scramble for it somewhere else. So at this point, I asked Sanford Hess to authorize purchase of a small PA system. So we did that too, and Jason will mention that as well, and the equipment purchase. But I think it's something that will be of value to the entire city staff, since we basically function as the audiovisual department of the city. Jason and I continue to attend the internal communications meeting and the external communications and community marketing meetings run by Natalie Kenny Marquez. And one of the things that Natalie has helped us with in the past quarter is to participate in a youth educator sustainable agriculture grant from a foundation that is, it's called SARE. It's the Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education. So we'll be a part of a grant that will involve, I think, middle school students. Joanne Gagner's been a part of that. We made some changes to our morning schedule. We had, for many years since I've been here, run the Illinois channel, the same 2-hour program every morning from 5 to 7, 6 days a week. And I decided it would be nice to freshen that up. So most of the year we will be running live news talk programs from Free Press TV, or Free Speech TV, excuse me, at that time, which will give us a much fresher and live, because these are live call-in programs. It'll give us a much fresher feel in the early mornings when a lot of people do tune in as a lead-in to Democracy Now! When Free Speech TV runs their pledge drives, as they currently are doing, I'll be filling with other documentary and public affairs programs during those slots. I happened to run into Maeve Riley, who I knew from WILL days, and she and Steve Drake, a WILL TV producer, are both working at the Beckman now. And through that contact, we were able to procure a number of science videos that Beckman is producing. So we've added those to our rotation. They're very interesting. They're very well done, very high-quality video. So we were happy to add those. We ran coverage of the Climate March in September via Democracy Now! We've been running, as we always do, the League of Women Voters monthly meeting, and one of them this past quarter concerned the referendum in Champaign School District. And even though it was the Champaign School District, it's obviously a matter of concern to our viewers in this area. So we were able to run that program several times. We also, as a follow-up to the Stephen Saleta press conference that I discussed at the last meeting, were able to record and broadcast an event called Academic Freedom and Political Dissent, which brought Professor Catherine Frank from the Columbia University Law School to our community for an open discussion and talk. And we were happy to do that as well. We have a number of new producers and new community access programs, among them the First Amendment, historically speaking, a weekly show hosted by Frederick Douglass Dixon, a show called Proverbs 31 Women with member Linda Jones. Our member Linda Turnbull produced a long-form feature on the Champaign-Urbana Labor Day Parade this year. Jacob Barnard produced the WEF-Fest and CU Bands and Fans sessions. Marilyn Kay was responsible for our recording and broadcasting a workshop on dyslexia. We are now also running another WBCP program called Access Live, which is hosted by Imani Bazell. And member producer Ted Atkinson gave us a very interesting program. It's an archival broadcast of the male chorus of the Mount Olive Baptist Church from the early 1990s. So we were happy to have those on the air. We provided both training and equipment for members' Common Ground Food Co-op to produce a video celebrating their 40th birthday, which is nice. They've been running that over at their store. In terms of staff productions, Jason has been doing a weekly holiday market menu. He produced a feature on the first legacy tree on Grigg Street, a feature about the America Recycles event that the city of Urbana put on. We filmed a number of thank you to veterans for Veterans Day spots from city staff. Jason's also currently today filming holiday greetings from city staff. We co-produced the International Humanitarian Awards. That's an annual presentation of CGTV and UPTV combined. And Jason did a long-form feature on Fire Prevention Week, which was in October. And we also have continued our participation in Urbana High School sports, and we run one game a week. We broadcast a double overtime victory by the Urbana girls basketball team this past week. And the Thomas More Urbana game will be on this Saturday at 6:30. And we have a clips reel we'd like to show you if you'd like to see it.
often talk with people about the pluses and minuses of serving on the Urbana City Council. I always cite as one of the top experiences the debate on the Legacy Tree Program and the discussion of the Sim Hackberry tree. It was wonderful because it combined what people feel most deeply and passionately about, our relationship with nature and the cycle of life, with reasoning together based on evidence and with our sense of community.
We have Neutral Cycle from Champaign here with bicycle inner tubes, and they're making bracelets and bicycle tassels and other little art projects from inner tubes.
Reduce, reuse, and recycle. The message was a simple one for America Recycles Day in Urbana. City staff and community organizations gathered at the Anita Purvis Nature Center for a day full of educating and entertaining children with games and art projects.
Brings it good in the backfield. Throws up, intercepted by Jogi Boomba. And Jogi Boomba is going down the sideline. He's still going, and he gets taken down.
At the 38-yard line.
Interception by Jogi Boomba. That gets the crowd going. Jogi, who won homecoming court this afternoon.
And his girl, Jackie Sparnick.
Who's a cheerleader for the Tigers.
Right. And they kissed at the homecoming thing. That's really special.
Yeah.
I wish I had a girl.
And it definitely matters how you look at it. And it definitely matters how you look at it. 'Cause if you think you can risk it, yeah, what an opportunity to be free of it. So if you think you can risk it, yeah, what an opportunity to be free of it.
Hi, I'm Zach Miklick, police officer with the Urbana Police Department. Served with the Illinois Army National Guard Infantry. Just like to wish everybody a happy Veterans Day.
It is no coincidence that most of the legal battles for LGBT rights for the past years have been for rights that fall under good civility and service provisions. The rhetoric of courage is evoked to produce and maintain a particular vision of political order and not to provide new models of citizenship. Ultimately, to be courageous is to be civil in the current context.
You know what? I never asked you where we was going.
He's here! Flynn, I know you're around here!
What are you doing here? You don't supposed to be here.
Where are you? Where's who? It's my brother.
Sorry, Gabe, but you never had a brother to begin with.
What are you talking about? We look just alike.
Believe it, Gabe. You burned that house down, and you put fear in their eyes.
No. I don't. This can't be. I don't remember.
Was you?
I don't remember.
Oh, you remember.
You just needed to get knocked back into you. That's what you need. Ha! You know what you did.
Underwear. Wherever you are, you're in your underwear. 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 Wherever you are, you're in your underwear. Climate change. Climate change. Climate change. Wherever you are, you're in your climate change. Racial climate. Political climate. Wherever you are, you're in your racial climate. Underwear. 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 We all want to change our underwear.
That was the biggest underwear and the most violins ever seen in the City Council chambers. We'd be happy to entertain any questions or comments.
I did have one question on your report. You mentioned one of the members of the council was present at the annual meeting. Did that person have any comments to make regarding Urbana Public Television, or were they just
It was Bill, and he. I spoke briefly to him. He was very supportive of what we do. He appreciated. We showed some clips, reels, and we handed out the annual PEG report, and it was I think validating experience in terms of one council person's look at what we do in a more detailed way. So,
okay, thank you. And with that, I'll turn it over to Peter.
Thanks, Dale. But could you give me an update on where we're at?
We are in or just, there we go. We are in or just past the staff report, depending on whether or not Jake is done.
I am complete.
Okay, moving on to audience participation. We don't have any audience at this time unless Sanford counts as audience. I don't know. And so I'll move on to unfinished business. We don't have or do we have an update on the principles?
Yes, we do, actually. I distributed the first draft of the policies and procedures revision at the annual meeting. Next week, we're going to be putting it on the UPTV website. We'll probably open it up for public comment for a month or so, 30 days. And following that, we'll bring it back to you, hopefully ready for approval.
Excellent. Cool.
Jake, what's the method that the public will have to comment on this?
What we'll do is we'll put it on the UPTV website as a front page item, saying this is, here, let us know what you think. We'll send an email around to the membership letting them know that as well for those that weren't at the meeting. We'll probably run a slide on bulletin board alerting people to it as well. Those are, I would say, the three main ways we can reach people about it.
And if the public has comments, then they can call or send emails to you with revisions?
Yeah. We would suggest email would be the best way to do it, but yeah.
Sure. But for folks who don't have a computer, they could call?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Or come in, say hello.
And moving on to new business, the equipment purchases listed. Looks like you've got some cool big ticket items. Do you want to talk about them at all?
Yeah, I believe Jason's going to address these issues.
Yeah, I'll start. Some of the stuff up top is just kind of regular purchases with the batteries, the hard drive, along those lines. We did get 6 new Magnus tripods there. Those are the ones that we loan out to the public, and we were in desperate need of those, so nice to have those out in the field. And then we also got 3 of the Magnus VT300. Those replaced our studio cameras that we film a lot of our public access shows if they're filming at UPTV with, so we replace those as well. You'll notice a couple larger ticket items, the next 3 items on the list, the UltraNexus video server, Laytronics PEG Vault, and the Laytronics hard drive, all kind of go together. That's the UltraNexus package that we upgraded our Nexus broadcast server from to the UltraNexus. So you have the UltraNexus video server, and then the Laytronics PEG Vault is a new feature that we'll be testing out and working into our programming, but it will allow us to have original Next to Live programming from alternate locations, so long as they have internet connection. Possibilities in the future of using this, a park district board meeting, a library board meeting, a number of high school events, sports, musicals, things like that are all a possibility through the PEG Vault. The hard drive is what we store all of our files on that the broadcast server actually references and plays out through the cable system. The hard drive there. Jake mentioned the portable PA system. That's something that city staff has had a need for a number of years, and it's always been on our, we need to get that list, so we finally got it. But that's just a portable PA system. We'll use that at ribbon cuttings, groundbreakings, things of that nature, whatever staff might need to use that for. Along with that comes the speaker stand and the microphone stand that you see there. And that is the equipment purchases for this last quarter here at UPTV.
Can you clarify the UltraNexus video server? Does that have any impact on streaming performance or on-demand abilities or ease of doing that kind of thing? And also, the 2 terabyte hard drive, is that only used for caching stuff that is soon to be played over the air, or is that a permanent storage for video content long-term?
The hard drive is just used for caching stuff that's getting ready to be played on air. It's not a long-term, storage solution. And as far as the UltraNexus, some of the features, it doesn't necessarily affect video on demand. We're still using YouTube for our video on demand, youtube.com/UPTV6. And some of the features that this allows us to do, the UltraNexus upgrade package that we purchased has a feature for a virtual channel. One of the virtual channels that we can utilize, we haven't started our subscription yet, but we do get a 1-year free subscription through Laytronics Nexus, and this allows us to have Laytronics will provide weather as well as sports updates, so you can have a ticker that says the most recent sports scores, as well as some trivia questions and stuff that you can put on. It also does do the local metro traffic for Chicago, should we be interested, but I don't think that would be one feature that we would utilize. But that's kind of some of the features that the UltraNexus has. Very similar in operation to what we were using before with the Laytronics Nexus. Same company produces that, Laytronics, which is nice for a staff point. We're not spending a whole lot of time completely relearning a system. It's a very similar system, just an upgrade from what we had.
Jason, what's the expected lifespan for this equipment?
Normally around 8 years. We always try to get as much out of our equipment that we can. The Nexus lasted 9 years, and we could see, with minimal repair, and we could see signs of wear and tear, and we just kind of felt that it was time. But normally we hope to get around 8 years with a piece of equipment like that. Laytronics has offered some upgrade packages that are very compelling, and they'll continue to do that. Through my conversations with them, they plan to continue to do that. For example, this UltraNexus would have cost us $8,000, but with the upgrade package, it's only $3,000. So that's kind of a way that they want to keep us as customers, and certainly they've always been responsive to any requests that we've had from them, so they're a great company to work with.
And Jason, can you touch upon the high def question?
Sure. So one thing that we kind of looked at was the UltraNexus that we have right now is just standard definition. The Nexus before that was obviously standard definition as well. One thing that we looked at is, do we want to purchase a high definition broadcast server? Currently, we don't have the ability to broadcast HD on Comcast, on AT&T Uverse, or our live stream isn't capable of broadcasting HD either. But with a purchase of this type, we want to think into the future. Okay, are we going to move HD in 2 years or in 4 years? Or, when are we going to move HD? We talked with AT&T Uverse representatives as well as Comcast representatives. AT&T Uverse didn't seem to have any plans in the near future or kind of further into the future as far as moving PEG channels to high definition. Our conversations with Comcast, not in the near future certainly, but it kind of depends on the marketplace, they said. One nice thing that in talking with Latronics, and one of the reasons we decided to stick with SD for the time being, is I asked them, will you offer an upgrade package from an SD server to an HD server? And they said, yeah, we plan to offer that upgrade package. So the nice thing down the road, if we look at this in, let's say 4 years, Comcast says, okay, we're switching everything over to HD, and you need to get an HD server, we can then go back to Latronics and say, we want to upgrade our UltraNexus SD for an UltraNexus HD or one of their other HD products. And it won't be near as expensive as the front cost that we would experience now, because the Nexus that we had wasn't upgradable to an HD server then. But they will offer an upgrade package in the future, so we're kind of positioned well into the future with this package as well.
I should also add that the other benefit of staying with the SD was that it was so much less expensive that we were able to include the PEG vault, which greatly increases our capabilities for remote broadcasts. So it was definitely a win-win. And as I mentioned last time, Jason was able to test drive all of the available systems when he went to the ACM conference this past summer. So he was confident in recommending this purchase, and the learning curve has been very easy, which as an older guy I appreciate.
Jason, could you or Jake, could you talk a little bit about what is how this fits in? So into the ecosystem of UPTV. So you have cameras that may or may not be HD, and people record content, and then so for example, I know Commissioner Cinder has submitted content that was originally HD to you. At what points does it get converted to the different formats and stored in the different formats? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Jason, why don't you handle that?
So as far as our cameras that we loan out to the public, those are all HD, and our members film in HD. Some of them, obviously, if they have their own equipment, might still be filming in standard definition. They film in HD. They come in here. They have the choice. Normally, we will encourage them to go ahead and edit in HD. They'll render that as an HD file. We'll upload it to YouTube as an HD file, and then we'll down convert it to standard definition for our broadcast of that. Some of our members, like I say, are just completely standard definition. They send us the file, we upload it to our broadcast server, and that's that. The cameras that I'm filming you with right now in the City Council chambers are standard definition cameras. The cameras at the school board are standard definition. The Park District is standard definition. The library is in high definition because we actually take our portable field cameras over to the library and film library meetings, and then we just down convert that right away because that's on demand on the city website, which only has standard definition capabilities as far as hosting goes. Looking at the high school sports, those are HD, and then we will that actually streams live in standard definition, but then if we ever upload something, if they create highlight reels or something, that's in high definition, and then we down convert that to standard definition in post-production for broadcast on UPTV. Or as far as video switchers, the only HD video switcher we have is the one that I'm utilizing right now for the City Council chambers. We bought that late last fiscal year, if you might remember. And, as technology advances and as we look to cycle out old equipment, that's when we'll start moving to more HD equipment as far as the council chamber cameras and things of that nature. One other thing that we get a lot of our content from is PEG Media, which a number of PEG stations will upload their content, and then Jake does a good job of deciding, what would fit nicely with our community and our schedule. All of those are standard definition files, and also Democracy Now! And anything else that we might obtain from Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV broadcasts in standard definition. So we receive that as a standard definition feed as well. I think I've covered all the rundown of the equipment, but I'm sure I missed something somewhere just because we have so many things in so many different places.
That was a really informative breakdown on how the system works. I think I lost track of one thing. You may have said it, but I didn't catch it. So after you upload the file to YouTube, do you retain the HD version here, or do you discard that?
We discard that.
Okay. Is the HD version that's uploaded to YouTube like a professional quality, or is it highly compressed, or how is the YouTube format compared to what you would use if you had an HD broadcast capability here?
I can't say for certain just because I don't have any experience with an HD server at UPTV, but we don't compress it too much from what it's originally filmed at when we upload it to YouTube. With that said, obviously YouTube compresses everything once you upload it to their servers. It's automatically compressed. But just for example, we're uploading, a lot of our, depending on what our members set the cameras at, they have the opportunity to set those differently, but a lot of them are at 1440 HD, rather than 1920 by 1080, it's 1440 by 1080 HD. We render that as an M2T file and upload that to YouTube. As far as file size goes, I would say an hour-long program is probably going to be about 5.5 gigs when we upload it to YouTube. Obviously, they compress it down to where it's more, maybe a gig or so once it's on their servers.
Okay, so those are pretty big files.
Yeah, I've had quite a bit of experience uploading high definition to YouTube, and I'm quite pleased with the results that I get back viewing on YouTube.
And one last question, what proportion of user-generated versus other content, just off the top of your head, I know it's not going to be an exact number, ends up on YouTube versus only on the city servers?
So any public access program that is either filmed here at UPTV or that they will edit here at UPTV is uploaded to our YouTube channel and not to the city website. Any sort of feature, news feature, city type program, you saw the America Recycles Day thing in the highlight reel, anything like that we upload to YouTube as an HD file, and that's it. We'll have a link to YouTube from the city site. As far as city meetings, school board meetings, park district meetings, we don't upload those to YouTube. Those are just standard definition files that we host on the city site.
Okay, so let me distill what that means to me as a potential member of the viewing public. To me, my takeaway is that if I want to see creative productions made by members of our community, all I have to do is monitor the UPTV YouTube channel, and I get nearly 100% of the creative, non-governmental productions from here. Is that about right?
It's about right, with just one correction. If they're actually sending us files that they've edited on their home computer, generally we won't upload that to YouTube unless they request us to, then we will. So we'll have stuff, a lot of churches will either send us a DVD or just send us the file on Google Drive or Dropbox or something, and we generally won't upload those to YouTube unless they request. We figure if they're technically savvy enough to edit on their own, they can probably upload it to their own YouTube channel if they'd like. With that said, we don't bar them from YouTube. If anyone's editing completely on their own and gives us the footage and say, hey, upload that to your YouTube channel, I know you guys have more subscribers, we're happy to do that.
Okay. One commissioner's comment would be, I'd love it if you'd make sure to ask them if they'd like you to put it on your channel instead of just hoping that they put it on their channel and that we members of the public happen to know what channel to look at. I think it's really exciting to have one place to go for that content.
Yes, I concur in that, and I also have another question for Jason. It's been some time since I looked at live streaming on the city's website. But the last time I looked, it was rather limited in size and resolution. Is that still the case, and does the UltraNexus change our capabilities there any?
The UltraNexus doesn't change our capabilities there any. We currently subscribe to a service called Via Streaming, which is a streaming video service. Laytronics does offer their own streaming service, as do a number of other companies. Originally, the reason we went with Via Streaming is the price is much less than what the competition is. In addition, there are different packages that we can choose from Via Streaming. So if we wanted a higher bit rate or a higher quality, we can certainly upgrade to a package. Obviously, with that comes an additional cost.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner questions or comments on the broadened topic of equipment purchases? Nope. Okay, seeing none, I'll move on to commissioners' comments. Would anyone like to share anything? Any comments?
I would. Attending the Saturday party was wonderful, and I really found it nice that we had the opportunity to go around the room and see what everybody was doing, and hearing from the producers and others themselves about what they like about this. There was an awful lot of kudos to the technical support staff, and everybody seemed to be here and enjoying themselves, and it was just a wonderful time. So I'm glad I had the opportunity to be here, unlike the rest of you. But no, it was truly wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I wanted to follow up with some information regarding the cooking show at the middle school. They're going to start their segments tomorrow, start filming. They're going to have 4 segments. Each segment is going to have a different student. So we're looking forward probably at our next meeting to seeing some of the outcomes.
Excellent.
Thank you for remembering that, because I had neglected to put that on my list. I appreciate that.
And I guess anyone else? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yes. I was going to ask Jake, programming-wise, when you look at governmental programming and user-produced programming and the number of times you rerun things, how much room do you have left in your lineup for new material if it were available?
Well, that varies on a week-to-week and almost day-to-day basis. Some weeks have a very heavy live meeting schedule, and some weeks don't. My practice is to run meetings on the air for a month following the date of the meeting. And in the case of some commissions, of course, they meet bi-weekly. Some of them meet annually. So that is a fluctuating thing. There's a lot of, I would say there are a lot of crevices that can always be filled with outside programming. Half an hour here, half an hour there. I'm trying to maintain as sort of full spectrum a broadcast schedule as possible with the station, both in terms of trying to serve the community's needs and interests, and also in terms of trying to interest the community in watching UPTV. Of the many things that you discussed, there are still lots of things that are on live that aren't on YouTube or the city channel that I think are of great value and great interest and very entertaining. So we also hope that in addition to people watching on demand, that they just turn us on every now and then and see what's on, because it could be something that they would not otherwise find. So far, we haven't had to limit anything. Oh, I really, opening up the 10 hours in the morning helped a lot, because there's a lot of material that sort of is appropriate for that hour viewing, I think, that I can get on now. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, so just to clarify a little bit, if suddenly you had another 5 half hours of programming per week, you wouldn't have any trouble accommodating that.
No, it might not be prime time.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, no, there's always, it seems like it's almost infinitely expandable.
Okay.
So.
I had 2 follow-up questions based on what you said. One is, you mentioned some things that are on live that are not on either of those on-demand platforms. Could you talk a little bit about what we're missing by not turning on the tube and letting it run?
Sure. Democracy Now!, for instance, an hour-long weekday program on national and international news. We have a senior citizens, a program for senior citizens and for people who love and take care of them called Graceful Aging. We have a program for people that are newly out of work or seeking to change careers called Your Next Bold Move. We have a program called The Humble Farmer, which is basically a television version of a radio show done in New England for many years by an old jazz enthusiast. We run a program called Hollywood Makeover, which is a series aimed at teenage filmmakers, giving them tips and tricks on how to do things. We run a gardening show called Gardening Rhythms. We run a cooking show called Eat Well, Be Happy. We have a program about weather featuring a meteorologist named Ed, and it's called Weathering the Weather with Ed. And it's one of these wonderful public access programs that you can't find on commercial TV anywhere. It's a weatherman who's also got a very sarcastic sense of humor. And so he talks, it's an hour, half-hour program. He'll discuss a different weather topic each week, cold fronts, the transition from winter to spring, things like that. But he does it in a very humorous way. So those are some of the things off the top of my head.
And just off the top of your head, are a number of those things available for streaming on the web from the original source?
For us to stream on the web?
No, for users, if they knew where they were.
Oh,
for them to gain access to.
Possibly. I mean, they're all from different sources. People can access Democracy Now! At the Democracy Now! Website. Yeah, all of those are from different producers at different stations, and each station and each producer has its own particular means and allowable distributions.
So I'm wondering if it might be useful for us on our website to have a list of the regular programs and where people might find those resources to stream if they wish to do so.
Yeah, except that it's the world of community access, so things change on a pretty rapid basis, and that's a pretty large database you're talking about, and that would be a very large commitment of staff time.
Okay.
And I'm not sure we can afford that at the moment. But I agree, it would be really nice to have. In the interim, I would suggest people just try to stay tuned.
Some of us don't have cable.
That's true. And some of us don't have 24/7 to watch TV.
So then I will revise my summary from previously. You can get a nearly comprehensive but not entirely comprehensive view of the locally produced content by going to the UPTV YouTube channel, what is the name of our UPTV handle?
youtube.com/UPTV6. And you can also, that link's available on the city website, urbanaillinois.us, or, of course, on our website, urbanapublictelevision.org.
Excellent. You can get a completely comprehensive but a little bit non-linear view of the meetings by going to the city website of live broadcast meetings on demand on the city website. And when I say non-linear, I mean I don't know if there's one place I can go that shows me all of the videos from the last week. Is that?
You are correct. There is not one spot. You have to go to the actual individual meeting page that you might be looking for, and then the video is embedded in that page.
Okay.
However, I think you could also go to the recent meetings list, correct?
Ah, right.
Yeah.
And will that interleave all the recent meetings?
Isn't that correct, Jason?
Yes, you can see all the recent meetings, but again, you still have to click on that meeting and then see it from there.
But that's a clickable list.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit easier than actually clicking on each individual board and commission and seeing if they had a recent meeting.
So that I would request that we link that from the UPTV page as a way of people getting all of the meeting content. And otherwise, for the curating that our UPTV staff does of finding the best of PEG content, or really not just PEG, because Democracy Now! Is not specifically PEG related. The best of the content that they have curated and are broadcasting on the UPTV channel, you should get basic cable and watch it on basic cable, or watch it on the UPTV website, or if you look at the schedule and there's a particular item you want to watch, you may be able to find that elsewhere on the web. Just about right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, good. Hope that was informative to the public that watches, and it was certainly helpful to me to know where I can go to get content. Any other comments? Our next meeting is scheduled for March 13th, 2015 at 12 noon in the Urbana City Council chambers. We encourage any audience members who'd like to participate to come on by. And then we will see you at that time. Can have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Any opposed? All right. All in favor? Aye.
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 All right. We are adjourned.